rice sativa is the primary staple food for more than half the world's population, and Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and South America are the largest consuming regions. Although rice is produced over vast areas of the world, the physical requirements for growing it are limited to certain areas. You're welcome to the program Improve Seeds on your first agricultural television, ARCN Abuja, Nigeria. I am Hilda Homsem Fantuam. I will be looking at the Sahara and Sahel Observatory Project records. It is important to Nigeria and importance of women participation. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Economically sound production typically requires high daytime temperatures and cooler nights during the growing season. Enough water supply is needed. A smooth land surface to facilitate uniform flooding and drainage, and subsoil hard pan that inhabits percolation, that is downward movement of water through the rice bed. There are four major types of rice. This includes the India tropical and subtropical region, which is basically in India, Pakistan, Thailand, among other countries. We have the aromatic or jasmine rice, which is best known also in India and Pakistan. The glutinous and others are also cultivated in other countries like Vietnam, Thailand, and also India. Long grain rice production is concentrated in South, which is cooked dry and is separate. The medium and short rice is produced in California. The grains are sticky and short, and typically moist. Care is necessary throughout the production, drying, storage, milling, and marketing phases to minimize the number of broken kernels we sell at a considerable discount to whole kernel rice. Rice production of Saharan African countries: Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Gambia, Guinea, Liberia, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Senegal, Sierra Leone, and Togo are countries that are in ECOWAS project in scaling up climate resilient rice production in West Africa. Rice is the second most important source of calories and a strategic crop for food security. Most of the rice production areas in SSA region have a tropical climate due to the population growth, increasing household incomes, urbanization, and changes in food consumption patterns and preferences. Demand for rice in SSA is growing at a higher increase rate than any other stable crop. Cropping systems varies in this country, including the different ecosystem that is the upland and the lowland, and water regime that is the rain and the irrigated system. Single and double season rice are both practiced in rice production. Rice crop calendar are shown for different regions in each of these countries.
You know, at a global level, not only Nigeria, there's this issue of climate change everywhere. Temperature has been rising, even within West Africa, which is actually going to be one of the most vulnerable area in the world. It is projected that temperature is going to rise between 1.5 to 3 degrees by 2050. So there's this global warming that is coming up. If you look at the precipitation, I'm talking about the rain, there's a lot of seasonal variation in terms of rain. While some years you can see low rainfall, you can see a lot of dry spells. In some other years, you can see a lot of flooding. Also, drought is coming up. You can see a lot of flooding, desert encroachment. You can see a lot of increased deforestation, increased incidence of pests and diseases. All those things were brought by climate change. Then what are we going to do? We have to find a solution to this problem. That's what brought about the ECOWAS project. It's trying to address some of the climate issues related to rice production across the entire ECOWAS country. That's 13 countries, and Nigeria is among those countries. I think the first objective of the ECOWAS project is to improve climate resilience rice production practices and improve smallholder rice productivity. Okay. That is the essence, and that is the broad objective of the project. But we still have other specific objectives, like we have to strengthen the capacity of smallholders to adopt climate resilient rice production practices. We also have to assist farmers to implement those CCRP. We also have to support also communication platform. We have to create communication platforms where these farmers can be interacting, where stakeholders can be interacting, so that they can change ideas. They can tell you about all these climate resilient rice production projects. They can change ideas. In addition, also, the project also wanted to establish a coalition of stakeholders, where the various stakeholders, researchers, policymakers, farmers, extension workers, so that all with the aim to address this issue of climate change that involves rice. Exactly. Okay. So those are the objectives of the projects.
Interesting facts about rice farming in Nigeria is one of the most lucrative type of farming in Nigeria. Although rice is classified as a cash crop for farmers, it's one of the most consumed staple foods and important cereal in Nigeria. Almost 7 million tons of rice are consumed per year in the country. In July 2015, when the federal government of Nigeria announced plans to place a ban on the importation of rice into the country, it placed on the importance of rice. It caused the price of foreign rice to soar, turning the attention of Nigerians to locally produced rice, creating an opportunity for interested individuals, farmers, organizations, and even some state governments to go into rice production. Nigeria is the largest producer of rice in Africa, producing about 8,435 tons annually, followed by Egypt, Madagascar, Tanzania, and Mali, according to the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, FAO. Ironically, Nigeria is the third highest importer of milled rice into the world. importing about 2 million metric tons of rice into the country. There is need for Nigeria to improve its rice production capacity. According to available data, Nigeria's rice production over the past 5 years have been at the highest level since 1999. The country's rice production grew from 2 million metric tons in 2015 after the ban on rice importation to 9 million metric tons in 2021. This is according to a statement by the president of Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, RIFAN. One of the most hindrances for the production of local rice in the country for smallholder farmers has been the lack of appropriate technology. The RICOWAS project hence focused in 5 states and 3 local governments each of Gombe, Jigawa, Nasarawa, Niger, and Ebonyi State.
The RICOWAS project actually they have some about 3 different components, and each component is trying to address a particular issue. Okay. The first component is trying to strengthen the capacity of institutions. What I mean by institutions could be research institute, could be extension institution, could be extension agents. We have to strengthen their own capacity to understand how they can approach this, climate resilient production practice. How let them understand it, let them take it to the farmers. We have to strengthen their own capacity, and we have to assist the farmers also by training them on these climate resilient production practices. We have to assist them also by giving some support in terms of seed and seedlings. We also have to support them with some small machineries because CRIP actually involves some mechanical use, like all these rotary hoe. We also have to support them. We are even trying to look if we can even link them with credit. That's why in our steering committee, we even have a member from Bank of Agriculture as a member of the steering committee. So these are some of the areas. The second area. Then the third component is talking about the communication. We have to create different communication platforms. Yeah. So that communication platform wanted to be very broad. It will involve all the right stakeholders. All these practices that address climate change, it should go through those platforms so that you can share among various stakeholders. Through that platform, several farmers can be able to learn about this thing. Actually, we only have project intervention areas, and those project intervention areas only 5 states. From those 5 states, we selected 3 local governments. That's make it up 15 local governments all over the country. So all our intervention is going to be free. It's not going to be free. So an eligible farmer, you have to be within the project implementing area. If you are not within those 5 states as of now, we cannot take the project. So eligibility is actually farmers within those 5 states and farmers within those 15 local governments.
Despite the contribution of oil to the economy reducing by 10.73%, Nigerian GDP for third quarter 2021 grew by 4.03%. This was partly because agriculture in Nigeria contribution to the country's GDP. It grew by 6.16% from 23.78% in the second quarter of 2021 to 29.94% in the third quarter. Crop production, which include rice production, accounted for 92.45% of agriculture's GDP in the third quarter. women participation in agriculture in Nigeria is less than 20% of the workforce, and the sector is characterized by low female participation. Women are 10% less likely to work in agricultural sector than men. That is according to the World Bank 2022. Compounding on and contributing to women's lower participation, women are 25% less likely to be primary plot managers. That is, they own and are responsible for making decisions for their plots than the male counterparts. Among the women who do manage plots, they produce less per hectare than men plot managers do. Nationally, women plot managers produce 30% less than their male counterparts, while regionally, women plot managers in the north produce 35%. Women's low participation and productivity in the agricultural sector come at a high economic cost to Nigeria. Using the 2018 and 2019 Nigerian General Household Survey (GHS), it found that the foregone earnings resulting from the gender gap in agricultural production are 0.6% of the total gross domestic product. Furthermore, accounting for GDP multipliers, closing the gender gap in agriculture could represent a total annual increase of up to 2% of the GDP, approximately $8.1 billion. This is according to the World Bank 2022. Thus, it is imperative for Nigeria to target investments towards boosting women's farmers' participation and productivity to capitalize on the potential economic gains. This could be as a result of three key factors, which are limited use of inputs such as fertilizer and herbicides. It can be also engagement in less valuable crops value chain, and also maybe less productivity from farm level. Examine women's participation in the crop value chains, for which Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security provides input support. Quantify the gender gaps in agricultural input use, extension services, and labor productivity. Examine women participation and input used against budget allocation, and thereby formulate recommendations for increasing fiscal space and investments to close the agricultural gender productivity gaps in Nigeria. The gender gap in farm participation across various crops value chains is measured using the proportion of plots managed by women versus men cultivating specified crops. This analysis includes only those crops value chains supported by Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security through budget allocation, rather than all the crops included in the GHS data set or all crops sold in the markets. The analysis is organized by the crop value chain per and also before processing. For that, out of the 30,000 farmers that the project is focusing, 33% is already assigned for women, allocated for women, and then women are going to be carried fully into it. We intend to, from the local, from the local regions, from the coordinators that we're going to get, we want to make sure that some of them are headed by women, so that they will be able to invite the women farmers into the advocacy, into the trainings, so as to be able to enlighten them more. And that is one. Then we are also going to make them understand that gone are the days that the men owns the land. Now the women do more of the farming and more of the production. They know more of the prices in the market and know what is best for us. So requires is trying as much as possible to carry every woman, the 33% allocated. It must come to pass in every region, that is every country that the project is going to is going to adopt. So we are ready to call on the women. We are ready to enlighten them and make sure to encourage them that there is no need for them to be scared, most especially now, to feel relaxed that the project is basically to enlighten and to support them. There is no need for them to panic in terms of communication. We are going to communicate in the best language and best code they will understand, and we are going to support them to every step they are going to take, from the pre to the post. So they should be open-minded, they should be ready to welcome the project. I will assure them of every support they will need. Hence, this analysis will reflect certain crops that are high value after processing, such as oil palm, at a lower value. The largest gender gap are among the least valuable crops, such as oil palm and white yam. Women primarily grew staple fruit crops, while men engaged more in cash crops. Women limited access to labor-saving machinery, extension services, and ability to travel contributes to the participation in less valuable crops. RICOWA's project is out to help fill in the gap and give an opportunity for women not just to cultivate, but own their own lands and add to food security. This is how we wrap it on Improved Seeds on ARCN TV Abuja. I am Hilda Homsem Phantom, urging you to watch more of our programs. Bye.